So, in standard meridian is a selected longitude whose local time is accepted as the standard time for entire country. Okay, so why does India need a standard meridian? Okay, why? Without a standard meridian, the eastern and western parts of India would have almost 2 hour difference in local time. So this would create administrative problems. So that's why, you know, I've said about this this longitude. So it is 82 degree 30 minutes east, right? This longitude passes near. Remember, it passes near Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh. So since it lies close to the center of India's east-west extent, so it was selected as India's standard meridian. So therefore, the local time at 82 degree 30 east is taken as IST. Okay. So yeah. So Indian Standard Time is the official time observed throughout India based on the local time of the standard meridian at 82 degree 30 minutes east longitude. So now let's see how IST calculated. How IST calculated. Okay. Now now let's see. So the prime meridian we have discussed. Okay. The prime meridian is 0 degrees, right? So India's standard meridian, let's take India's standard meridian is 82 degrees 30 minutes. Now let's convert that into degrees. Okay. All right, convert it into degrees. 82.5 degrees. Okay. So Earth rotates 15 degrees every hour. Earth rotates 15 degrees every hour. So therefore 82.5 divided by 15. Okay. 82.5 divided by 15, that will be around 5.5 hours. So it will be 5 hours 30 minutes. Okay. So hence IST is equals to UTC plus 5 is 30. 5 hours 30 minutes. Okay. Now there is other concept called GMT. Okay. GMT means we have, how can I say this? Sorry for the disturbance. So GMT is Greenwich time, Greenwich Mean Time. So generally before UTC, okay, UTC is coordinated universal time. Right now we are following that. So Now, so GMT is the mean solar time at the prime meridian passing through Greenwich, that is London. So for many years, so I'll write the definition so that you'll have some idea. GMT is the mean solar time at the prime meridian passing through Greenwich, London. So for many years, GMT served as the world's standard reference time. So today, scientifically, UTC has replaced GMT. So UTC replaced GMT, but before that, we generally, the world has GMT only. So however, both terms are still commonly used. So what is GMT and UTC? I'll just write the difference so that you'll get some idea. So GMT is based on mean solar time. It is based on mean solar time. Okay. Whereas UTC, it is based on highly accurate atomic clocks. Remember this. And it's an older international standard time. Okay. Whereas this is modern one. So it traditionally it has been in the use. They used to use in the ancient time, the before UTC. So it is officially, now it is the UTC officially used worldwide. Okay. Yeah. So UTC is a present global time standard. Remember, UTC is present global time standard. Okay. Let's go. We have discussed GMT and then we discussed UTC. Now let us see what else we have. Okay, so we have India's absolute location. So now let's understand India's extents. India's extent. So in India's extent, we're seeing India's latitudinal extent. So now let's first understand the latitude. So India begins at 8 degrees 4 north and extends up to 37 degrees 6 minutes north. So difference is approximately 29 degrees. So okay, I'll write so that you'll have some idea. And 37 6 degrees north, difference is 29 degrees. So we all know 1 degree latitudes, it is equals to 111 kilometers. We have discussed in the class. I don't know how many of you remember. So right, so 29 into 111, that will be around 3219 kilometers. So the actual measured distance is 3214 kilometer. Okay, so this is north south extent. Okay. So what does this mean? So imagine traveling from Kanyakumari to Ladakh. You're traveling from Kanyakumari to Ladakh. Okay. So you have to you will travel over 3,200 kilometers. So this is the total distance from Kanyakumari to Ladakh. So during this journey you will experience different temperatures, okay? Different rainfall, different vegetation, different languages, different crops, what else, different culture. So all because India's latitudinal extent is so large. So it is north south India's latitudinal extent, and it is north south extent, okay? Now let's take other examples. So Kerala. So okay, let's take Kerala. So Kerala, it's nearer to the equator, okay? So it receives nearly vertical sunrise, hot and humid climate, heavy rainfall, dense evergreen forest. There will be crops like coconut, okay, rubber, spices. But when you look at Kashmir, it is farther from the equator, okay? When you look at Kashmir, okay, it is farther from the equator. It is this is nearer, right? This is nearer to the equator, and this is farther to the equator. So it receives slanting sunrise, okay? And here you will see cold climate, snowfall, and what else, coniferous forest, remember. So you will see crops like apples, saffron, walnut. So same country but completely different climate. So the main reason is latitude, okay? So now let's see, we have seen India's latitudinal extent. Now let's see India's longitudinal extent. India's longitudinal extent. Yes. Now let's study longitude. India extends from 68 degrees 7 minutes east to 97 degrees 25 minutes east, okay? So the difference is around 29 degrees. So again 1 degree, okay? So 4 minutes. So therefore 29 into 4 is equals to 116 minutes, okay? And it will be around 1 hour 56 minutes. 56 minutes. I mean, it is almost 2 hours, right? Almost 2 hours. Now, so why this is important? Imagine sunrise in Arunachal Pradesh occurs around 5 a.m. but Gujarat sunrise may occur close to 7 a.m. So difference almost 2 hours, right? It is Arunachal Pradesh 5 a.m. and Gujarat may 7 a.m. So yet both states follow Indian Standard Time. This is why India adopted 82 degrees 30 minutes east as its standard meridian. Okay. Now let's see India's position in the world. India's position in the world. Okay. Now let's zoom out. So Earth, then we have Asia, then we have South Asia, okay? Then we have India. So India occupies a unique location, So India it is located in northern hemisphere. India located in the northern hemisphere because entire India lies north of the equator. Entire India lies north of the equator. Okay? Entire India lies north of the equator. Now, northern hemisphere, now it is eastern hemisphere. Let's say eastern hemisphere. Eastern Hemisphere. So India lies northern hemisphere, and at the same time it is also lies in eastern hemisphere, because entire India lies in the east of the prime meridian. It is lies prime meridian, east of the prime meridian, east of the prime meridian. So longitude 60 degrees 7 minutes to something around 97 degrees. So this is an important UPSC fact. So India lies completely northern hemisphere, and at the same time eastern hemisphere. Okay, remember this. So we have discussed India's position in the world. It is lies northern hemisphere and at the same time eastern hemisphere. Sorry. now now let's see what else we have. Now let's see. Yeah, so India occupies a central position at the head of Indian Ocean. Okay, so imagine the Indian Ocean. India projects it into like a giant triangle, like this. Okay, so because of this, India is naturally connected with West Asia. Okay, East Africa. What else we have? Southeast Asia. Okay, Southeast Asia. Then we have Australia. Through sea routes. Remember this. Through sea routes, we are connected with West Asia, East Africa, Southeast Asia, Australia. So this location made India an important trading center since ancient times. Now let's see historical importance. Now let's see historical importance. Okay, so ancient traders from ancient traders from Rome. We have Arabia. What else we have? Rome, Arabia, Persia. Then we have China. What else we have? Southeast Asia. Okay, I'm really sorry for my handwriting, it is very bad, but just try to understand. So ancient traders from all of these places, all of these regions, they used Indian ports. Okay, so they used Indian ports, and India during those time exported pepper. What else we have? Cardamom, and we are very rich in cotton. Silk, I forgot silk, indigo, and precious stones. Okay, so it also imported horses. India also imported horses, gold, silver, and luxury goods. So thus India became known as the land of spices. India became known as land of spices. So that is the reason why India is called as land of spices. Okay, and it's a major hub for Indian Ocean trade network. Okay, remember this. So we have seen historical importance of India. Now let's see modern importance of India. Now So even today, India's location gives its major advantages. It is located near some of the world's busiest sea lanes connecting Europe, Africa, West Asia, East Asia, and Southeast Asia. So a significant portion of global trade and energy supply passes through Indian Ocean region. Okay? You know, making India's maritime location strategically important. So this is why initiatives like remember this initiatives like Indo-Pacific strategy, Indo-Pacific strategy, and we have Sagar, Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. Okay, you know. So this is why we have initiatives like Indo-Pacific strategies. There are a lot many, but I just gave two. So India's focus on the blue economy receives so much attention in the current affairs. Okay, remember that. So India's absolute location influences climate, agriculture, biodiversity, economy. We have seen this, right? So we have completed historical importance, modern importance, how India used to export during ancient times and import. India imported different type of horses, different type of golds, different gold, silver, luxury goods, etc. So yeah, so this is what the historical and modern importance of India. Now let's see India's extent and geographical boundaries. We have left a little bit left in this concept. So a little bit left in this concept. So we'll discuss right now. So let me ask one question. Imagine someone asks how big is India? Okay, will you answer very big? No, right? So a geographer never uses words like big or small. Instead, geography answers with measurable factor. I've already told this. How far India extend from north to south, how far from east to west, and what is India's total area, where does India begin, where does India end, what are India's natural boundaries. So today we will answer these questions. So what is extent means? What do we mean by the word extent? Extent refers to geographical spread. Remember, it is a geographical spread or expansion of a country. Okay? Geographical spread or expansion of a country from one extreme point to another in different directions. So in simple words, extent tells us how long a country is, how wide it is, how long a country is, how wide a country is. Okay? How much area it occupies. So think of it as a measuring the dimensions of a country. Now we're going to see types of geographical extent. So remember this, types of geographical extent. Now first one is north-south extent. Okay? So distance from the northernmost point to, alright, it means distance from the northernmost point to southernmost point. Okay? Southernmost point. So north-south extent means distance from the northernmost point to southernmost point. Remember. Now the second one is east-west extent. It means it is distance from the same easternmost point to westernmost point. Easternmost point to westernmost point. Now, the total geographical area means the total land area occupied by India. I'll write here. What is total geographical area? Geographical area, remember, geographical area. What is total geographical area? The total land, okay? Total land area, remember this, total land area occupied by our country, India, okay? Now we're going to see other one is land and maritime boundaries, okay? Land and maritime boundaries. What is this then? The length of India's land borders and coastline. Okay. Land means length of India's land borders. Land borders and maritime boundaries, it's the coastline. The length of coastline we have. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Extent is very important. Why extent is very important? Because a country's size directly affect climate, biodiversity, agriculture, population distribution, transport, and we have administrative defense economy. Large countries generally have greater geographical diversity than smaller countries. So India is a perfect example. Now let's see India's, just remember this, no need to memorize, India's total geographical area. India's total geographical area. So India occupies an area approximately 3.28 million square kilometers. Okay. Square kilometers. 3.28 million kilometers of area India occupies. Okay. So India's share in the world, remember this also. India's share in the world, it will be 2.4%. Okay. So India occupies only 2.4% of the world's total land area. Okay. So you may have question like, does India have only 2.4% of world's population? No. India has around 17 to 18% of the world population. Population is very different. I mean, India supports a very large share of world's people on relatively small share of the Earth's land. So this highlights both India's demographic strength and also a pressure on its natural resources. Now, we have seen India's total geographical area, we have seen India's share in the world, and now let's see India's rank in the world. Okay, India's rank in the world by area, remember, I forgot, by area. It is seventh largest country. What are the countries which are larger than India? Which country is the largest than India? Russia, right? After Russia, we have Canada. After China. Area, I'm telling, rank in the world by area. And then we have US, United States, then Brazil, then we have Australia, then comes India. Okay? So why isn't India among the largest 5? Many students think India is very huge. It is. But countries like Russia, Canada, Australia have enormous land areas with much lower population density. So these comparison help student. This comparison, you need to remember. Many students have doubt regarding this. So this comparison, regarding this helps student distinguish between area and population. So remember this. Now, Now let's see north south extent. North south extent. Okay. So now let's measure India vertically. So India extends from Indira Kal. Remember this, Indira Kal to Indira Point. Indira Point. Okay. So the distance will be around 3,214 kilometer. 3214 kilometer. So what is Indira Kal? What is Indira Kal? Indira Kal is the northernmost point of India. Remember, it is the northernmost point. Northernmost point in the world northernmost point of India. Okay. So it is located in the eastern Karakoram range in the Union Territory of Ladakh. So it is located in Ladakh. Just remember Ladakh. Okay. So what is Indira Point then? What is Indira Point? Indira Point is the southernmost point. Okay. It is southernmost point of territory of India. Okay. Okay. So it is located near Great Nicobar Island. Great Nicobar Island. Great Nicobar Island in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So earlier it was known as, by other name, but after assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1984, it was renamed as Indira Point. So there are actually two concepts: southernmost point of mainland India, that is Kanyakumari. Southernmost point of India, I'm not talking about mainland. Southernmost point of India is Indira Point. Okay. So mainland it is Kanyakumari, but southernmost point it is Indira Point. So this distinction has been asked in many competitive exams, so remember this. We have discussed north south extent. Now let's see east west extent. Now now let's measure India horizontally. The distance will be approximately 2933 kilometers. Yeah, so 2933 kilometers. So easternmost point, the easternmost point is Kibitu. Okay. Kibitu, it is located in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay. It is the easternmost point of India. It is near India-China border. Okay. So Kibitu is among the first inhabited places in India to receive sunrise. Now let's see westernmost point. Okay. Westernmost point is Goharmoti. So Goharmoti, which is located in Kutch district, Gujarat. Okay. Kutch district, Gujarat, and it is lies between India-Pakistan boundary. Okay, remember India-Pakistan boundary, and it is one of the westernmost inhabited villages of India. Now why is east-west extent smaller? Because India's north-south is 3214 kilometer and east-west. Remember this. I'll just it is already a lot of time I've taken to explain. Very sorry. So north-south it will be around 3214 kilometer, because when we study from the basics level, we'll get the perfection over different concepts from the basic concepts. So when you are ready with basic concepts, you everything. Whatever the perspective of questions will come, in which way the question will come, you are ready to answer. Okay. So my goal is to explain everything fundamentally, everything, from the base level, so that you'll get an understanding. Okay. So north south, and we have east west. East west will be 2933 kilometers. So the difference is around 281 kilometers. So India is therefore slightly longer from north to south than from the east to west. Now let's see mainland India versus entire India. What is this? Let's see. Mainland India versus entire India. This is extremely important. Many students confuse the two, because mainland India refers only to the continental landmass. Mainland India, remember, mainland India refers to only continental landmass. Remember, continental landmass. Okay? It excludes island. Okay? So in mainland, okay, the southernmost point is, I'm telling you again, it excludes island. Okay? Then the southernmost point will be on the mainland is Kanyakumari. Okay? So the southernmost point, it is Kanyakumari. Okay? Now what is entire India? Let's discuss here. Entire India means it includes mainland. Okay? It includes island. Islands means the Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar Islands. So the southernmost point will be, for the entire India, the southernmost point will be it is Indira Point. Okay, remember. So for the mainland India, the southernmost point will be Kanyakumari, because it excludes island. Okay. But for the entire India, it includes mainland islands. The southernmost point will be Indira Point. Remember. So yeah, let's discuss India's land boundary. Now let's discuss India's land boundary. Okay. So India shares land boundaries with several neighboring countries, and the total land boundary is, total land boundary is approximately 15,200 kilometers. Okay? 15,200 kilometers land boundary. It is, I'm telling you, approximately. So these boundaries connect India with countries like Pakistan, and then we have China, Nepal, then we have Bhutan, Bangladesh, and we have Myanmar. Okay? So Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar. Okay? So India shares land boundary with these countries. So each boundary has its own geographical and strategic importance. So yeah, which is we have discussed about land boundary. Now let's see coastline. Okay? What is coastline? So India has a coastline of approximately 7,516 point. There will be something 6. Yeah. So India has a coastline of 7,516 kilometer, and this includes mainland coastline. Okay, mainland coastline at the same time island coastline. So these include mainland and island coastline. Okay, so the mainland coastline alone is 6,100 kilometers. So while the remainder comes from the island. So India's long coastline supports, ports, fisheries, tourism, what else, naval operations, maritime trade. So yeah, so this is about land boundary and coastline. Now let's see why India's size is important. Because India's size, it very important because it creates diversity. One country contains the Himalayas, the Indo-Gangetic Plains, Thar Desert, Deccan Plateau, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats. What else we have? Coral islands, volcanic islands, mangrove forests, tropical rainforest. What else? Alpine meadows. Very few countries possess such geographical variety within a single political boundary. So that is why India's size is important and it creates a great diversity. Okay. Now let's move on to the other topic. So before moving to other topic, I'll just write, uh, you know, the extents, the extreme points. For the north, extreme point will be Indira Call. Okay, and it is in Ladakh. Okay, first one, and the second one is, that is साउथ में मेनलैंड है, साउथ में मेनलैंड, सॉरी, एंड इट इज़ कन्याकुमारी. ठीक है, एंड दैट इज़ लोकेटेड इन तमिलनाडु, TN. एंड देन वी हैव अगेन साउथ, दिस इज़ मेनलैंड एंड दिस इज़ एंटायर इंडिया. ठीक है, एंटायर इंडिया, इट इज़ इंदिरा पॉइंट. ठीक है, इंदिरा पॉइंट, and it is located in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay. Now, and easternmost, east extreme point will be Kibitu. Okay, that is in Arunachal Pradesh. And for the, what else we have? West, right? West extreme point is Gohar Moti, which is in Gujarat. Okay. So for the north, it is Indira Call, located in Ladakh, and south, remember this, south mainland extreme point is Kanyakumari, and south entire India, it includes everything, so islands and everything, so it is Indira Point. And for the east, it is Kibitu, Arunachal Pradesh, and for the west extreme point, it is Gohar Moti, Gujarat. Okay. Yeah. So now that we understood, India's geographical extent is not merely a measurement of distance or area, because it explains why the country possesses extraordinary physical diversity, immense globe, immense biological wealth, varied agriculture systems, strategic maritime advantages, and one of the most complex geographical landscapes in the world. Okay, so understanding India's extent is the first step toward understanding India's strength. Okay, now we'll cover the last topic, that is India and its neighbors. Okay, India and its neighbors. Now, so why do you think the Indian Ocean is the only ocean named after a country? We have Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Southern Ocean. So but only one ocean is named after country, the Indian Ocean. Why? Have you ever think? Indian Ocean, the Indian Ocean. Is this merely a coincidence? No, because it reflects India's unique geographical and historical importance. So today's lesson explains why. Now let's see India's position in the world. So before discussing India's neighbors, let's first understand where India is located on the globe. So we have discussed already, but let me recall. So India is a South Asian country situated in the northern and eastern hemispheres, occupying a central position at the head of the Indian Ocean. Okay? India, I'll just recall the definition. It's a South Asian country. Okay? South Asian country. India is a South Asian country. Okay? And situated in northern hemisphere and eastern hemispheres. Okay? And it occupying central position at the head of Indian Ocean. Central position at the at the head of Indian Ocean. Okay? So now why is India called a South Asian country? South Asia country. So generally, Asia is the largest country in largest continent in the world. So so for better understanding, since Asia is the largest continent in the world, okay, geographers, for better understanding, they divide Asia into regions. We have West Asia. The conflict is going right now. So West Asia, Central Asia, East Asia, and then we have North Asia. Which country? Which includes Siberia. And then we have South Asia. Okay. So India belongs to South Asia. So along with countries such as Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Afghanistan, all of these countries are belong to South Asia. South Asia is often referred to as the Indian subcontinent because it shared geological origin and also historical cultural linkages. So that is why it is often referred as Indian subcontinent. Now, what is subcontinent? What is subcontinent means? What is this mean? Because India is called a subcontinent. Why? Because a subcontinent is a large, distinct geographical region that forms part of continent but possesses its own unique physical features, geological history, climate, and cultural identity. So India is part of Asia. Okay, all right. A subcontinent is a large, distinct geographical region. Okay, distinct geographical region that forms part of a continent, but possesses its own unique physical features. Okay, own unique physical features and geological history. Okay, geological history. Then we have climate. Okay, and cultural identity. So that is why it is called as a subcontinent. Okay. So yeah. So why India is called a subcontinent? We have seen the definition. There are several reasons. Geological. Let's see geological reason. Millions of years ago, India was not connected to Asia. According to the theory of plate tectonics, the Indian plate was once part of southern supercontinent called Gondwana land. Okay. Around 120 to 130 millions ago, the Indian plate began moving northward. Then it traveled thousands of kilometers across the ancient Dead Sea. Eventually, it collided with Eurasian plate about 50 to 55 millions ago, and this collision closed the the Dead Sea and folded sedimentary rocks, and they created Himalaya mountain range. So thus, India has its own unique geological history. Okay, and that plate is that plate collision is still continuing. The Indian plate continues to move northward at about 5 centimeter per year. Okay, so that is a one reason why India is called subcontinent, and there are other reasons like physical diversity. India is almost every major land. India has almost every major landform. We have fold mountains, Himalayas, we have northern plains, peninsular plateau, what else? Thar desert, coastal plains, island. Very few regions of the world possess such diversity, and we have other reasons like climatic diversity. India, generally our country experiences tropical climate, subtropical climate, you know alpine climate, desert climate, monsoon climate. Okay, so it is very vast. Okay, another one is cultural diversity. So India is home to hundreds of languages, dialect, multiple religions, diverse traditions and festivals, rich cuisines, distinct architectural styles. What else we have? A lot many other. So this diversity evolved because of its geographical setting. Okay, so that is why India became a great civilization. Okay, India possessed fertile river valleys, a favorable monsoon climate, access to sea for trade, rich mineral resources, natural protection provided by the Himalayas. You know, this Indus Valley civilization. All of these advantages led to the rise of Indus Valley civilization and later many powerful kingdoms. Now let's see India's neighbors. India's neighbors. So we have already discussed India shares land boundaries with, okay, all right, land boundaries with Pakistan, China, Nepal in the north, Bhutan also in the north, and then we have Bangladesh in the east. Okay, and then we have Myanmar in the east. These are the land boundaries we share with other countries, and India also has maritime neighbors. We have maritime neighbors also. I'll write here maritime neighbors. Will share maritime boundary with Sri Lanka and Maldives. Sri Lanka and Maldives. Okay. So why neighbors are important? Why neighbors are important? All right. Why neighbors are important? There are a couple of reasons. First one is neighbors countries influence the little. I have made some points regarding this. So neighboring countries influence security. Okay, we have seen many incidents: security, trade, and then we have cultural exchange. Okay, and then we have migration to other countries and or between those countries, or we have river water sharing. Okay, river water sharing. What else we have? Border management, which is very crucial and very important. Border management, and then we have like foreign policy. Yeah, it is very important. Okay, so thus understanding neighbors is essential for both geography and also international relations. Security, trade, cultural exchange, migration, river water sharing, border management, and then foreign policy. Now let's see the natural boundaries of India. Nature itself protects India. Okay, okay. So in the north we have Himalayas. Okay, so in the north we have Himalayas, and they act as a climatic barrier, a source of rivers, a defensive wall. What else? Biodiversity hotspot. So in the north we have Himalayas. In the south, these are the boundaries. Okay. In the south we have Indian Ocean. Okay. It provides maritime trade, naval security, marine resources. What else? Strategic depth. So okay, this is in the south. And let's see west. In the west we have Arabian Sea. Okay. Arabian Sea we have, and Thar Desert. Okay. And the other one is east. In the east we have Bay of Bengal. Okay. And hill ranges, connecting to Myanmar. So these are the boundaries we have. Why the Himalayas is called as India's Great Wall? Because the Himalayas are much more than mountains. They block cold wind. They block cold winds. Okay. Cold winds from Central Asia. They block it. They act as a shield and they block. Okay. Okay. They block cold winds from Central Asia. They force the southwest monsoon winds to rise and produce rainfall. Okay. And they give birth to rivers such as Ganga. Okay. Rivers such as Ganga, Brahmaputra. Okay. And the Indus system. Okay. And it forms a natural defensive barrier. So without the Himalayas, India's climate would be completely different. Okay. Now, India's central position in the Indian Ocean. So look at the world map. So India extends into Indian Ocean like a giant peninsula, like this. Okay. So it almost divides ocean into Arabian Sea. Okay. This is Arabian Sea. So Arabian Sea, and this is Bay of Bengal. Okay. So it is in Arabian Sea. West, it is in the west, and this is in the east. Okay. So it almost divides the ocean into Arabian Sea in the west and Bay of Bengal in the east. So this central location has given India's immense strategic importance. Okay. And we have seen historical importance, like ancient traders sailed from Rome, Egypt, Arabia, and Persia. They reached India because India lay along important sea routes. We have seen India exported pepper, cardamom, silk, indigo, and precious stones. India imported gold, silver, horses, and luxury goods. These trade made India one of the wealthiest regions in the ancient world. Okay. And I forgot to answer the question, why is the Indian Ocean named after India? Because the Indian Ocean is the only ocean named after a country. The Indian Ocean is the only country named after a country. Indian Ocean is the only ocean. Indian Ocean is the only ocean named after a country. Okay. Named after a country because India occupies a dominant central position at it northern end. Okay. And India has had historical maritime influence over the ocean for thousands of years, and ancient trade, navigation, cultural exchanges revolved around the Indian subcontinent. So these reflect India's long-standing geographical and historical significance. Now let's see modern strategic importance. So today the Indian Ocean is one of the world's busiest maritime regions. Okay. A large share of global trade and significant portion of all shipments passes through this ocean. Okay. So India's location enables to monitor and protect critical sea lines of communication, SLOC. Okay. And this is why the Indian Ocean is central to India's foreign policy and at the same time defense strategy. So let's see important sea routes. Important sea routes. So India lies close to the important maritime choke points such as Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz, I think you all know this. Then we have Bab el Mandeb, Bab el Mandeb, and we have Strait of Malacca, Strait of Malacca. Okay, you know these routes connect Europe. These route connects Europe, West Asia. Okay, and then we have what else? Africa and East Asia. Okay, so any disruption here, we have seen any disruption in any of these, can affect global trade and energy supplies. You all know the disruption caused at Strait of Hormuz led to, I don't know, that crisis. That crisis is very huge, and it has been in the news for several months. So yeah, one more thing I have to add is blue economy. Remember this. Blue economy means it focuses on the sustainable use of ocean resources for fisheries, renewable energy, coastal tourism, marine biotechnology, shipping, etc. So India's long coastline and island territories make this sector highly significant. Okay. So yeah, that is why India generally focuses on blue economy. So there is other question also. Why is India called a peninsula and not an island? Because a peninsula is a landmass that is surrounded by water on three sides. Okay? Peninsula is a landmass that is surrounded by water on three sides. Okay, and connected to the mainland one side, Okay, the word peninsula comes from two Latin words. Pen means almost, insula means island. Means almost. Another word is insula, which means island. So literally almost an island. Okay, remember this. So generally peninsula surrounded by water on three sides, connected to a larger landmass. It will have longer coastline. Okay, and yeah, so India is called a peninsula, right? Okay, we have water on three sides. Three sides are surrounded by water. In the west we have Arabian Sea, in the east we have Bay of Bengal, in the south Indian Ocean. So only north is connected to Asia, hence India is perfectly satisfy the definition of peninsula. Yeah. So we have completed what is peninsula and why India is called peninsula. And there are three water bodies we have. One is Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the third one is Indian Ocean. Okay, all of them are important. Just remember, I'm not gonna explain here, but just remember that. So we have completed importance, we have completed blue economy, we have completed land mass and important cereals and important. So now, what is EEZ? I forgot to explain this. Exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zone. What is this? Generally, this is favorite UPSC topic. Okay, remember this. So, exclusive economic zone is the maritime. Okay, is the maritime area extending up to 200 nautical miles. Extending up to 200 nautical miles from a country's coastline. Country's coastline where the coastal state has sovereign, okay, sovereign rights to explore, to exploit, ठीक है, and to conserve, ठीक है, to manage marine resources, ठीक है, to manage marine resources, ठीक है. So, exclusive economic zone is a maritime area extending up to 200 nautical miles from a country's coastline, and where the coastal state has a sovereign rights. Okay, I'll write here sovereign rights to manage, to explore, to exploit, to conserve, to manage, marine resources. So India has one of the largest exclusive economic zones in the world, so greatly enhanced by way of Andaman, Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands. So these provide access to fisheries. What else? We have offshore hydrocarbons, polymetallic modules. Then we have other topic, renewable ocean energy. So again, so maritime security. Let's discuss maritime security now. We have discussed exclusive economic zone. Now let's see what is maritime security. So India lies in the Indian Ocean, right? So it must protect merchant ships, oil tankers, fishing vessels, port, offshore installations, and and all of things. So Indian Navy plays a central role safeguarding this interest. Protecting merchant ships, oil tankers, fishing vessels. Are right. Merchant ships. Then we have oil tankers, fishing vessels and all. Okay. So Indian Navy plays a central role. Okay. And I have said in a previous topic that sea lines of communication. Okay. This is a new topic, you need to learn this. Sea lines of communication we call SLOCs. What is this? SLOCs are the principal maritime routes used by ships for international trade. Okay. SLOCs are the principal maritime route used by ships for international trade, okay, and logistics and etc. So for India, keeping these routes open and secure is essential for energy security and economic growth. Okay. So now that we covered, we have covered the economy, blue economy, defense, and defense means the naval power, maritime surveillance, and then we have covered what is exclusive economic zone, maritime security, okay, and all. Now let's see